Today, on Day One Outdoors, we return to small waters on the southern Oregon coast in search of fall Chinook. Our first day was a grind, battling crowds and learning a new system. We found success on our first float and have a plan for today. The weather is deteriorating quickly, but our hopes are soaring and lessons learned.
Let's do it again. What we learned from yesterday has paid off today.
The forecast, showers and thunderstorms today with strong southwesterly winds to 37 miles per hour.
It's a numbers game, especially for the situation that we're in. We're coming off of a high water event here 48 hours ago.
The outdoors is not a hobby. It's not our passion. It is our way of life. We make the perfect cast, slow our breathing to execute a perfect shot, spend hours researching locations and techniques. Regardless of effort, we fail. This series is not about incredible bites or trophy animals. Our goal here at Day One Outdoors is to educate our viewers utilizing new technology to offer a different perspective. Watch as we research new areas, plan out the day, and adjust to changing conditions. If not for other experienced outdoorsmen teaching me along the way, I wouldn't have this life. I owe it to them to pass this knowledge along. I owe it to you. Join us here on Day One Outdoors, and let's learn how to become more successful in the field and on the water from day one. We're back again here on the Oregon coast in really small, shallow water. We had a lot of rain that came in for a few hours last night, tons of wind, but we're back out here trying to do it again. Getting down to these holes that we know are holding these fish and that will produce, see if we can capitalize on today and get a few more fish in the box. We had a great day yesterday, but we missed some opportunities, made some mistakes. We learned from them, and now we're gonna see if we can apply that knowledge to today. So time to go through the next riffle here in the dark. Kyle, Steve, and Chuck are already here. They came down a few minutes earlier. We waited for a bit more light to come down, and the hole is all ours. Now is our chance to take advantage of this opportunity, deal with the wind and rain, and see if we can't capitalize on it and get a few fish in the box here in the next hour.
I got here early this morning, and probably my third cast threw out bobber and eggs.
Steve caught it using bobber and eggs. Little tuna belly, kind of gave it a bunch of scent. Pretty nice effective bobber down. There's fish rolling in the hole, so hopefully we'll get a few more of these this morning. Should be good.
Bobber just slowly started to dip down, and I tightened it up, felt them on there, and connect with the fish.
The way out today is going to be really windy. We get these winds coming in from the ocean right now. There's a storm coming in, and lower part of these small coastal rivers, man, it could be fun. A lot of work, but worth it. I already have a sardine that I've ran up on my line. This is just from last cast. Just run it up the hook. A little scent right there of sardine. That'll give me a little something else to offer the fish. I'll slide that up. I'm gonna take my sand shrimp and just thread it as well up the hook. Kind of ease it through. See how it slides down the leader line. Take my egg loop that I have. And then I have a bunch of different cures right here that we have pre-cut. And I like to key in on a bite. So this one here has a lot of yummy flavors, krill and some sulfites. And then that's that. And ultimately what we're going to get is just like that. And so we have a pretty big bait. You can see that's a 5/0 hook I'm using too. Something that these fish have big mouths, so they'll take it just fine. Something just bopped your bobber, I think. And these fish are holding in the hole down here. You can see them rolling. So we're just presenting bait, waiting for the bite to trigger on. Gotta be patient, but we've got a few bobber downs already. These fish are coming in last night. We're not far from the ocean, just a few miles. And last night, when we were pulling off, we saw quite a few fish moving. So our plan for today was to get down here and kind of intercept some of these fish. We got the hole here pretty covered. Cody's down there at the bottom end of the hole, kind of getting them as the fish first move into the hole. It's a good spot. And then we're up in the higher in the hole, kind of on a corner.
Oh shoot, you're hooked up? No, I didn't even hear you, man. I got my hood on. Get the net. Very nice.
Man, it's amazing how hard these fish bite. Nice fish.
There's a hatchery. All right, this fish started out. It's ready to be netted here. It's just absolutely nasty weather, but we found a way to get bit. Ryan's had 2 bites now. And it's actually a hatchery fish. Now, this river doesn't typically have hatchery fish in it, so it's probably a stray. So that is a bonus fish for us. Nice fish. Hey, let's do it again. What we learned from yesterday has paid off today. So Ryan, I know that you've been handling hatchery fish for the last few months. You work up at Bonneville Fish Hatchery, and I'm sure you're tired of seeing them, but you know, you saw that fish, and immediately, since you see hatchery fish all the time, you saw that it was missing its adipose.
Right, that's just natural for me, you know, always looking in the back of the fish, looking for fins or not, and just noticed that, which you kind of talked about already. Bonus fish for us. They don't have a hatchery on this system, so we'll take this fish, harvest it. It's a buck. It's got a little bit of color. Been in the river for a few days, but you know the meat's going to be good for fall Chinook. It's going to be a real nice fish.
And the regulations out here are that you can keep 2 Chinook per person, but because there aren't typically hatchery fish out here, you know, just from an ethical standpoint, we don't need a lot of fish. We're fortunate to have access to a lot of it, especially after a great fall. So our plan was to only keep 1 Chinook per person for wild fish, but since we did end up getting a hatchery, bonus fish.
Take it out of the system. That's what they're here for, to
You got
harvest.
it. Born to be bled.
Got it.
I waited too long.
Dang it.
That was that snack, dude. No way. Not the way it went down that fast. Look at my bait, dude.
The day is off to an incredible start.
That was fishy. It shot down really fast.
Multiple bites with several in the box. The wind and rain continued to batter us as the bobbers drifted downstream.
Totally dumped on over there in that. It's right out in the open. I think we just got some kind of cover or something.
But when the fishing is this good, no amount of soaked rain gear will keep you off the water. Fishfield is your one-stop shop online for the gear you need here in the Pacific Northwest and beyond. From salmon and steelhead, saltwater, trout and kokanee, even crabbing. Visit fishfield.com today to place an order with no sales tax and have the gear you need shipped fast. Fishfield.com, we have what the Northwest outdoorsman needs.
Every once in a while, a new lure comes along that catches every angler's attention. It could be because of all the irresistible colors and finishes, or the patented skip beat action. Or maybe it's the wide variety of sizes designed for salmon, trout, walleye, steelhead, mackinaw, and more. But just for the record, we know one thing for certain. We didn't design the maglip to catch fishermen. Yakima Bait Company.
The incoming tide this morning meant fresh fish entering the river, but it also created a lack of current. When this occurs, bobber fishing will be your primary technique. We took a moment to break down the bobber rigs that allowed us to be successful so far today.
We're going to take a moment here right now and talk about why we stopped here and also the rig that has been working for us so far today. So we were just floating downriver, getting down to a spot that we hooked the fish yesterday, but we saw a couple fish roll right here along this bank. And now obviously the fish are moving, it's raining, it has been all day, and so the water level should be coming up, a lot of fresh fish moving in. So when you see jumping fish, don't be afraid to stop, pull over, and try and put a couple baits through them or back troll through them. Even if it is only 2, 3, 4 feet of water, the fish are obviously there, they're moving, they're active, and they'll be aggressive. So let's move right now onto the rig that's been working for us here today. Starting off with the rod. This actually is just a Lamiglass Pro Bouncer. It's designed for back bouncing. We've been using it for bobber fishing today. Just out of the drift boat, I like shorter rods. You know, a lot of times we're not making long casts, especially here in small water. And it's just an 8-foot medium heavy. It's a 10 to 20 pound rod. It works great. Plenty of backbone to control these fish that are fresh out of the ocean. Now the reel, we're going with a low profile reel. It just fits in your hand better, especially when you're casting all day long. It won't wear you out as much. The line, this is 65 pound Maxima braid. Works really well, floats high in the water. We don't need something that heavy, a 65 pound, but the reason why I go with this heavier line is because it'll float up higher in the water column and stay up on that surface. It just makes mending your line a lot easier. Now moving on down the setup here, we put our bobber stop in place, and then your bobber stop bead down to a 1 ounce float, and then a rubber stopper bead. These are pretty slick. It just keeps your bobber from getting too beat up, bouncing against the swivel there on your inline weight. Now this inline weight here, we got a 3/4 ounce inline weight for the 1 ounce bobber because your bait is going to weigh right around 1/4 ounce, so it'll float about right. Now we're going to go down to 30 pound maximum fluorocarbon leader, and here's how we've been setting up our bait. So we're just taking about a golf ball size, maybe a little bit smaller, glob of eggs here. And the way I set it up is I put my hook through once, then twice. You open up your egg loop on your snell knot here on your hook. And our hook is anywhere from a 3/0 to a 5/0. This one here is a 5/0. Open up your snell, grab a hold of the eggs, pull it tight. And then I take my sand shrimp, pop the tail off, and I'll start right where that yellow guts are coming out right there. And the soft part, put it through once. And then there's a harder section of exoskeleton on the bottom near the tail. And I'll put that section through, and that'll help keep everything on there. And this has been the setup that's been working for us today.
Salmon swim up to 3,000 miles to return to their exact place of birth to reproduce. Well, most of the time.
Today is already a success, but to keep the bite going, you need to be prepared to adjust to changing conditions.
I'd have some cures that have been proven for me, and I use those and I mix around the different cures for the salmon until I find what's hot. Some of these have different things in them. Some are sugar-based, some are sulfite-based, some have some added flavors to it like krill. Salmon can be finicky on a bite, so we like to give them options. I mean, there will be a bait that keys on, and that's the bait that we want for the day, but it will change too. So we're all trying different baits. Steve's had a bait that's worked very well for him already today, but we're not gonna run all 3 rods that way because we want to see if something else keys on at a particular time. So I'm just bouncing around until my bobber goes down, and then that's what I'll stick with for a while. I don't know, we got just part of the hole right now, I guess. They got their second fish, that's good. We're gonna stay here. Move. There's 3 boats here fishing the hole. These fish are coming in. We just got to wait for a bait to make it happen.
Ryan's hooked up again, and what was so odd is we've been talking about how we've been getting these really light bites, and the bobber's barely going under, and we watched that one go under 2 or 3 times, and then finally Ryan just reeled down tight on it while it was bouncing around lightly, and he hooked up. We thought it might have been a smaller fish, but it's definitely not. Oh no, you're fine. Beautiful fish. Beautiful fish. Got him good and tired out here, Ryan. Go ahead and lift up and let's do it. Look at the scrape marks on the tail there. He's not ready. Got it. Let's pull it up here and take a look. It's a fat fish, man. Just actually in the skin, not even in the mouth. It's just on the outside of the skin right here. That's how light this fish is biting. Just comes right out. That's crazy. They had a run-in with a seal right there. That's fresh too, just in the last day. Gonna darken up on its dorsal. Well, if you can't beat them, join them. Ryan is on a pattern here. He's using one of our 4 cures, and at 7.5, 8 feet. That's fish number 2. Again, light biter, real light.
That one actually bit it 2 or 3 times before it actually kind of pulled the bar about halfway down, and I just started reeling.
Yep.
Felt the weight and set the hook. this is what we got.
Beautiful fish, man. And it looks like it had a little run-in with a sea lion here recently. A little bit marked up here on its caudal fin. But hey.
Definitely a brighter fish, newer fish.
Yeah.
Great.
Fat,
great
just
bite. Thick.
Thick, all the way back to the tail.
This is a native fish to this river, but we're allowed one of those a day, so take that.
You got it.
Nice fish.
And that cure that we're using, most guys have been saying that they've been catching them on a really hot cure. This one's actually a bit sweeter. And what that means, the difference between a hot cure and a sweet cure, the hot cure has a lot of salt in it, a lot of sulfites. A sweet cure is just a little bit sweeter, not as much salt, and a little bit of sugar to it. So seems to be working.
They're liking it.
All right, I'm switching my gear right now.
These fish that are moving in, they're getting first pass on these fish. And it's a narrow spot. And there's a nice little, it kind of benches off into a little drop right there. It's definitely where those fish are coming in and maybe holding for a second before they're coming in the hole. Either way, they're doing a really good job. That's good. Right here.
There's a nasty snag right there.
I'm gonna kind of force this fish out, hopefully.
I'm gonna switch the sides.
I got my drag pin pretty tight so I can get him out of that snag that we had.
Job.
Yeah.
Good job.
Just when we thought all was lost, thinking about moving down and trying to chase the fish, we know they're here. We just had
It's a hatchery.
Hey, that's a bonus fish, man. Nice work.
Let's take a look at it.
Yeah.
It's
Bait,
good bait.
See, look at this right here. Look how the bait is just swallowed down there. Really deep.
That's a good hatchery fish.
And not to lie, I wasn't
Sea
paying
lice.
attention. I felt the fish on my rod before I set the hook.
Really?
I was completely spaced off watching those guys.
Oh, we all were.
Yeah. Good sea lice on them. Nice fish. Nice hand. Look at that nice soft face.
Good job.
And a nice bonus hatchery king. So
Yeah, good job.
cut the gills just right through the top. Perfect, man. That changes the day right there.
That bobber went down fast. I was down there below the boat quite a ways, and man, I just ate it right there. That was great. No light bite on that one. Rain just let up. Wind's still blowing hard. Whoa, 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 whoa. There he is. Bright fish. Man, so much power. He's gonna take off again. Oh, nice net job. Good job, man. Dude, killing it today. So this is what happens when you learn from your mistakes that you made the day before, make a transition, make the changes. We've been out here an hour and a half, and we got 3 in the box now.
One more.
That's a great day, man. In it goes. Call those guys, see if they want to come over. Well, here's my first fish of the day. And I just made the change over to exactly the same bait that Ryan was using at the exact same depth. Second cast.
Rocket science.
There she is. It's the little things. You got to make changes to your presentation. Even though I'm fishing the exact same water that Ryan was, I hadn't had a good bite. So I made the changes. Ryan had a pattern going on, and this is the result. Pay attention to your surroundings and what other anglers are doing, and you'll have some more success. Awesome, buddy. I had a way to figure out that pattern. I like it. So much better than what yesterday ended up. Yesterday was a great day, but man, today's a phenomenal day. Awesome. Love it. Coastal Fall Chinook.
Box is filling up.
Ryan and I already have our 2 wild fish and our 1 bonus hatchery fish. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna head on down river, try some different techniques, try and see if we can get some fish to bite on some other stuff. Just do a little catch and release and hopefully get 1 more hatchery fish. Again, we're allowed 2 Chinook per person, but we're only gonna keep 1 wild each. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna let the other boat, Chuck and Steve and Kyle, come in here, take this spot. We've been doing well. They already have 2 fish too, but there seems to be a pile of fish that just moved in sitting in the spot. Let them take over and see if they can't get their 1 last wild fish too. So they're coming in right now. and we're gonna pick up and let them take over. Here we go.
We got both boats have fish, which is good. They got a couple wild fish and a hatchery, so they need one more hatchery fish. We still need a couple more, so we're gonna move over and sit in their hole while they go down river and try some different techniques, things like that. They want to go try some plugs, maybe some back bouncing. We're gonna try bobbers a little bit longer before we make the move.
If you look at the water with this wind, you can actually see where it's deeper, where the deep channel goes. I mean, we can see the nervous water on the side, and it kind of goes into a little slack. It's pretty cool.
And, on the pro bouncers, bobber stop, is that your stripper guide, the first eye?
I just slid my bobber stop up my main line 1 foot so that I was set at 8 feet total. So they said that that's what they were set at, so I'm not gonna question it.
We just pulled out of the hole there and let the other boat take over our spot. Now they already had 2. They had 1 wild and 1 hatchery, and us, we're almost tagged out. You know, we said that we were each going to keep 1 wild fish. Ryan did catch a hatchery, so he's tagged out. So he's on the oars now. I'm just going to kind of bobber fish through all this slack water until we find some current. Then we're going to switch it up, go back to mag lips that gave us some success yesterday, and see if we can't have some fun with some different techniques. Maybe get lucky and get 1 more hatchery fish before we wrap up the day here. It's only 8:30, it's early. Today's just been awesome. We worked really hard yesterday, but we learned from our mistakes, saw what was being successful for other boats, learned from them, made changes to our approach and our system, and within what, hour and a half, we had a few bites, 3 in the box, and we could go right back down, call it a day, and it'd be a great day. But we're gonna see if we can have a little bit more fun and get 1 more hatchery fish. So Ryan's gonna be on the oars here. I'm gonna cast in some slack water, and we're already seeing some fish moving through.
We're gonna give this hole 1 more pass with our bobbers. We've caught fish in here. It's been fine. Cody got fish, we got fish. It's been an awesome morning. But there are some good holes downriver with a lot of fresh fish moving. So we're gonna make a move here just in a few minutes and try some different techniques, maybe some mag lips or diver and bait. Should be good. I'm running a single hook on my plugs. Very good for hook to land ratios, and that's a 5/0 Gamakatsu Big River. Fits these Maglip 4.5s really well. Get that plug rod right on the right side here, dude. I'm gonna run back up.
Yes.
Just go out there 45 feet. We just dropped in a plug, short little hole. So we're short lining it, something small with a little sardine wrap. See if we find a king in here. Well, we're gonna come through. We got to the bottom of this short little run right here. Looked fishy, and there's fish in it, but not right now. This next hole, we caught a fish in it yesterday, or at least Cody did. There's some bank fishermen in there, so we have to be careful, but we're gonna hopefully get the top end of it. If we can't, because of bankies on the, fish in the hole, we'll move down to a fresh hole with nobody in it. So, but it did have a nice drop in at the head of the riffle, so we'll see. Be a good spot to catch one on a quick fish or a maglip. The river's still on a pretty good drop. Yesterday when we came through here, there was moving water in this hole. I was hoping we'd have some more of that today because it would have been a great spot to run our maglips. But we're going to let these guys have their hole, and we're going to move on down.
Kyle, I think we should bounce out of here. There's a bunch of bankies in here. Let them have it. Go down and get another good one.
Yep. Yeah, the sea lions do affect the fishing a little bit. If they run the fish around, you can catch them. I mean, they're not going to get all the fish in a hole, but they usually swim after them. They're trying to eat the fish. So a lot of times these fish move quickly or they're moving around. But it's a nice deep hole to fish, so we're giving it a shot. It's like right now we're kind of in more of a slack tide. Nothing's really moving up or downstream. We're positioned the way we are because of the wind. So we're just gonna sit here on this lower part of the river with some floats and See if we can't drum up another fish before we call it a day.
Today was a fantastic day out on the water, and eggs were the ticket. And right now what we're gonna do is take some of these hens that we caught and put the eggs into these Ziplocs. Now the first step to having great eggs is bleeding the fish. You cut the gills right at the rakers, and that gets all the blood not only out of the meat, but also out of the eggs. That keeps your eggs really nice, high quality, and it keeps the blood out of them, and the blood will actually deteriorate the eggs. So now, we're gonna come down to the fish, start at the vent, put your blade in there, just go straight up to the chin. There's our eggs right there. It's really easy to pop them out. Start at the bottom, break the membrane, work your hand up to the top and do the same. You can see that most of the blood is out except for that main artery that goes through the entire length of the skein. So now what we'll do is we'll put these into our Ziploc bag, take them back to the house, and start the curing process.